the secret that you need to know before you get started with your paid ads. I'll be perfectly honest with you, it's not a massive secret, but it is absolutely something that you're going to want to be aware of before you go ahead and get started. Because this is going to manage your expectations correctly. And if you go in with the right expectations, you can't be disappointed. You cannot come away from something and say, oh, that didn't work, that wasn't good, if you have the right expectations in place. When it comes to paid ads and paid advertising, it absolutely can work. And if you have the right expectations, then it will work. And this will lead to more happy people around the world, better businesses, and a better world in general. So as far as I'm concerned, buckle up for the next 5 to 10 minutes. I think this will be absolutely crucial for you if you are looking to grow your business. And I hope that I can obviously share some value with this as well. So when it comes to paid ads, a lot of people are afraid of investing. And they say, oh, well, I spent £500, I didn't get any return. I spent £1,000, I didn't get any return. And paid ads don't work. Paid ads don't work for my industry. They don't work for my service. I'm not going to try them again. But something that you have to recognize with paid ads is that they have one function, and the actual success of paid ads in generating new clients is based on the success of multiple different systems as well. The actual function of paid ads is so specifically for service-based business, by the way, I'm focusing this towards service-based businesses. The majority of my viewers are going to be mortgage brokers. So in this instance, this is actually going to apply to you. But the function that you'll want of paid ads in a service-based business is to generate leads and inquiries. People that have said, I'm interested in hearing more about this, or I'm interested in getting information, or potentially buying the service that you provide. And that is a lead. And yes, you can throw in qualifying questions and things like that to get rid of people that aren't going to be 100% intent, but at the same time, leads can lie, so on and so forth. So that's another part of the expectations as well. But you get the picture. You can generate leads who may fit a set of conditions or set of circumstances based on the qualifying questions. And realistically, that is the only metric that you can actually determine the success of the quality of your paid ads on. It's generating new leads who may or may not fit a certain criteria or a certain condition that you've set by qualifying questions. And the cheaper that you can get those leads in and the stricter that they adhere to that criteria, that's all that the success of paid ads can be determined on. It can't be determined on your return on investment. It can't be determined on how many new clients you get. It can't be determined on how much revenue your business does. None of that stuff is actually relevant to the paid ads, because there are a couple of different steps that are involved in getting to that stage. I'll list them out now. We'll go through them each individually. The next one after you generate those leads through the paid ads is going to be having a way to get in touch with those people. So how do I actually contact the leads that come through? And this is going to consist of a couple of different action steps as well. So the first and probably the most important one when it comes to getting in touch with leads that you generate through your paid ads is speed to lead, as it's known as. So how quickly after somebody opts in for your offer or for your service do you actually get in touch with that person? Ideally, you want this to be within like 5 minutes. I'm being serious, by the way, for anybody who's not familiar with this. Put yourself in the prospect's shoes. This is something that you can do as well. If you sign up for something online and somebody gets back to you like 2 days later, so you took 20 to 30 seconds of your time while you were scrolling on your phone and not paying much attention to opt in for an ad, and someone calls you 2 days later, the likelihood that, you give them your time of day because of that is not very high. But if someone calls you straight after you filled in the form, so you've watched maybe 2 or 3 videos since you obviously made the opt-in, and someone gives you a call saying, oh yeah, just getting in touch regarding that thing, then you're going to be much more inclined to actually want to give them the time of day because it's still top of mind, still fresh, and you'll build a lot more rapport and position yourself as an authority and someone who takes their shit seriously, quite frankly, by getting in touch with someone as quickly as you can. Speed to lead is going to be one of your biggest factors. There's a couple of different ways that you can do it. You can do this through SMS. You can do this through email. You can do this through calling people. Obviously, calls are going to be your most successful. Method of outreach to get in touch with somebody. It can be difficult. So using things like conversational AI, AppointWise is what I would use. It's what I do currently use with my new leads that come through. It'll send them a text message straight away, and it's conversational AI. It will generate a conversation. It'll respond to those texts in the most human way it possibly can, and try and book that person in for an actual appointment to speak with you, a real person. But if you're able to make that manual call, then by all means, it's something that you should absolutely focus on. The next stage is actually then getting that person to show up for the call. So that's going to involve things like appointment reminders, sending over a sufficient material to actually engage that person and show them that although their initial spark of interest wasn't them saying, I'm ready to buy, you can get them to a stage where they're closer to saying that by sending over sufficient material, social proof, testimonials, a little about you and your business, to obviously build a personal relationship, and more about your service and how you can specifically help them. So the better you can understand your specific ICPs, set of problems, set of pains, desires, and you can speak to those through that nurture material that you send across, the more engaged and the more primed that lead is going to be when it comes to actually speaking to them, which is going to make the next step even easier, which is actually converting those leads. And this could be reframed to as sales as well, by the way. So how do you actually sell to that lead? And people have a very negative connotation around sales. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that I always give a bit of a disclaimer around sales. At the end of the day, all that sales is an exchange of value. The person that you're selling to can get value from the service that you provide, and the value that you extract from them is money. The more value that you give that person, the more money that they're willing to give you. And every single person has freedom of choice and the ability to choose what they do or don't spend their money on. And if they perceive something to be more valuable, they'll give you more money for it. I'm not making a video on sales today. If you want to go ahead and check any of the rest of my videos on sales, just go and have a look. It'll talk you through the exact framework that I've been using. But sales is obviously that next step on actually getting those people converted. So you can see why people with misaligned expectations might determine or might find that they think that paid ads don't work. If they are judging the success of paid ads on the number of strangers that they can convert into new clients, instead of the number of strangers that they can convert into leads, then they're only going to end up disappointed. Because if you don't have a process for getting in touch with leads, for getting leads to show up to calls in a primed and nurtured way, and set of processes for closing those leads through a proper sales system, then your paid ads aren't going to work in line with what you're expecting them to do, because all that they can do is generate you new leads. Now, if this is new information to you, then it will probably come with its own set of problems as well. Because if you weren't familiar with the things and the processes that I've just listed, then the likelihood is that you probably don't have them within your business. It's just the truth. It's more likely that you have been working with referrals and people who are a bit warmer and more inclined to trust you and work with you and give you the time of day. And that's fine. I'm not saying that there's an issue with those leads. The problem is that you can't grow your business off of them. You can't just go out and get 50% more of those leads each and every month just because you decided that you wanted to. But when it comes to paid ads, yes, you can just spend 50% more on your ad spend and you'll generate that much. And yeah, there's going to be limiting factors like less return for your scale, but that's besides the point. It's not what I want to talk about. The point is that you might not have all of these things in place. So whenever you start spending on ads and you have a bottleneck in that system, so paid ads, getting in contact with the leads, getting them to show up for a call and converting them. If there's a bottleneck at any stage of that process, you're going to be throwing money into this system and then it's going to get bottlenecked and jammed here and you're not going to see it come out the other end for quite a while. So for anybody who's observing this and can't see the insides of the system and doesn't understand the insides of the system, all they're going to see is money going in one end and then nothing come out of the other end. And they'll say, oh, it's a waste of money. And in a sense it is. At the start, it is going to be a waste of money. And you can think of this as the sunken cost of getting your paid ads to work. It's not necessarily going to be something that starts straight away and gives you a return on investment straight away. You might find that you spend £500, you generate 50 leads, and you don't actually convert any. I'll be honest, you'll probably convert one. But let's say you convert one, for example, and you make like 300 quid off the leads. Like, oh no, it doesn't work. But what all that you've done there is bought yourself data. You've bought yourself information. So if you go ahead and look back at each stage of the process and look at your actual metrics and numbers in relation to that, you can identify bottlenecks and places where you've fallen short. And yes, you'll be inclined to want to stop because you've spent money and you haven't seen it come back. But what you'll need to do at that stage is continue to spend after having amended the system and iterated things. So make an improvement on what you've already done. Spend more money and see what the return is. See how that actually works out in getting you closer to the goal. And it is difficult to do. It is difficult to do. But the reality is that if you don't do it, then it's just not going to work, and you're never going to get paid ads to work for your business. And what sort of business is that if you don't have paid ads working? It's inefficient. And it's very commonly said that whilst paid ads can scale your business, they'll also scale your problems. So if you're facing these problems and you're getting away with it because you're dealing with like hot leads, there's still leaks in your bucket, so to speak. There's still problems within that business. And for me, I think that the whole goal with business is to develop efficiency and develop a business that works and functions well. And if you're happy to just sit with the holes in your bucket and the problems with your systems, that's fine. But it's like, ask yourself what you want. The majority of people that are watching this are going to want to grow. If you want to grow, fix the holes, fix the problems, and then you can grow and you can actually scale the proper way. It's like, you can see this in other businesses as well. Take someone like Elon Musk as an easy example, just because he's the richest man in the world. But he's trying to build, I can't remember the name of it. He's trying to build his new reusable rocket. So flies up in the air, it actually lands, and then it can take off again. He has crashed countless rockets. I can't remember how many rockets he's crashed. There's been so many. And you think about the amount of money that he would have had to spend on, number one, the materials to even build the rocket, the fuel to get the rocket to take off and to land, the manpower that he's had to pay, really highly skilled engineers and physicists, and even just manual workers to build the rocket. There's a lot of fucking money going into that as well. Not to mention the amount of personal time that he's dedicated to getting the business up and running. There's a lot going into that. And whenever that first rocket crashes, what does he do? He doesn't go, oh, fuck, the whole thing's bust. The rocket doesn't work. No, he learns from the mistakes that he made with the first launch, and he goes again. And he builds another one. He pours more money into this because he knows that at the end of the day, whenever he's finally cracked this and fully worked it out, that he's going to be able to make a lot of money from having a functioning system that actually works, a rocket that actually works. So it's kind of the same with your own paid ads. Think of this as a sunken cost to generate a new model for client acquisition. Realistically, it only makes sense that you should do it because if you're able to generate clients at a profit, so you make more from the new clients that you bring in than you spend to acquire those clients, then that's endless profit. It's a money printing machine basically, and it might cost you £1,000 to £5,000 to get that up and running. But if you're making £500 of kicks, then you only need to take 2 to 10 new clients on before you've 100% reimbursed yourself on that. And then everything else after that is profit. So it's just something that you'll need to be aware of. It's not necessarily going to work out straight away, but just because you lose a little bit of money initially and don't see that return come in straight away, don't be put off. Just recognize that there's an inefficiency with the system. Track your numbers religiously for each separate stage of that process, from generating leads to getting in touch, to getting them to show up, to getting them to convert. Identify where those bottlenecks are. And whenever you've identified the bottlenecks, go again. Iterate and go again. Make a change, spend more, and see how that return works out. And eventually, if you keep doing this over a long enough period of time and continue to make the right amendments and the right actions, then you will see that return on investment come back. So, appreciate you tuning in. Great to have you here again. If you want some help with having 18 to 20 months of this, 18 to 24 months of this completely shortcutted, and just have us do it for you, then you can click the first link in the description below and have a chat with me about working with me individually and actually having me handle this process for you. But I am going to sell you something on that link, so don't click on it if you don't want to. And if you just want access to the systems that we're using without me doing it for you, you can have those for free. If you click on the second link in the description, then you can get access to the same software that we're using. I'll link to the snapshot for that. Go high level, 14-day free trial. It's completely free. You can have a look at that and have a look at the rest of my content if you like, if you want some more information. So appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video as well. Take care.